This video continues from the previous. So what I've done is I've Googled Dada 3D art. I just wanted to get some examples, see if there were some things here that could help inspire me for ideas. And there is quite a bit. And obviously you can just scroll through this. And because we're blending two different styles, or I'm blending two different styles here, I'm going to look at pop art. But I think this is great in and of itself. You could stop here with one style. There's a lot here. The next one I looked at was 3D pop art, and that helped as well. Gave me some ideas. A lot of great stuff here. A lot of inspiration. But then the next thing I wanted to look at was cat toys, because I've got multiple parts that I'm going to put and piece together. And so you can see there are a lot of really great, interesting, cool shapes that I can use as part of my design. And remember, I'm using Ava's favorite toys because this is about Ava. A lot of great stuff. It makes it hard and it makes it overwhelming to narrow it down sometimes. That's why you want to do the principles and elements chart, because it does help you do that. For instance, these fit. That fits. This kind of fits, right? So it helps me say these fit, and then, well, that doesn't. It's cool and all, and we're definitely not doing that. These are great toys, but that's not really where I'm looking to go. That's her favorite, one of her favorite toys. So absolutely we'll find ways to, well, actually that's it right there. We'll incorporate that. Another thing I wanted to look at was bouncing balls, because when you freeze a ball in motion, you get these ovals. You get these really abstract, extended ovals. This is squashing and stretching, and they create some interesting juxtapositions as well. So I might want to consider this in my work. So you just want to start looking at things. This is the brainstorming time to really start getting into how am I going to design this? What influences am I going to have? What am I going to include? What am I going to exclude? It's hard. People don't realize how hard it is. And a lot of times people get stuck here. But nonetheless, I persisted. The next thing I did was, let's get this into view. This is my first bubble diagram. And so what I basically did was in ink, I drew some rough rectangles for my room and what each level was going to be. This is level 1, this is level 2, 3, 4, and 5. And my brain can see this way. If this is not how your brain works, you want to figure out how it does and work the way that it does. Just because I've been doing this for so long, I can see multiple stacking levels in a construction document style. You may need to do it in a 3D plane style. Actually, I think that may be my next sketch, because I want to start doing a massing diagram. What I wanted to do was take my program from the list of things that I knew I needed and start drawing bubbles and approximating how much space they were going to take up in my design. This is the first step for planning, right? We're figuring out where are things going to go? What is the function? In order to start to add the form, though I still argue that it shouldn't be you do the function and then you attach the form, because it leaves your designs feeling flat at times. So I kind of try to consider the function. And so what I've done over here is I've started visualizing this in a 3-dimensional, right? I'm only working with 2 dimensions at the moment, my X and my Z, this is my X, my Y, and my Z, but I'm really working with 2 planes, my X, Y plane, and in this case, my X, Z plane, in this case, my Y, Z plane. And so I've just kind of roughly laid out my limitations. I know that this is 7 feet wide by 5 feet long, and that is my floor plan. So in my first floor, in my level 1, my ground level, what am I going to have? Well, this is going to be play area, 3D play area that extends all the way through the space, because when cats play, they can jump really high. Also, in order to view that play area at the higher levels, there shouldn't be anything else in this area. So this should be in and of itself a three-dimensional space. And I'll show you that as that will just kind of like be a cylinder in my massing. And then around it, I decided, well, there's no view over here. So this could be good for hiding. This could be good for napping. This could also be good for pouncing. This is lounging, just hanging out, watching the play go on. And then view lounging area, because we said we could stack those. And then we have storage over the litter box over here in the corner. And then the litter box faces the closet so that materials can be, heavier materials like litter can be kept in the closet. The storage, upper level storage, is for other things that are associated with either the litter box or the space. And so then I worked all this out, viewing lounging platforms all throughout, laid it out. And then I had to think about, okay, so this room is 8 feet tall. How far apart do I want my levels to be? And the average cat, I Googled this, is at most 10 feet tall, 10 inches tall, not 10 feet, 10 inches tall. And that's a pretty big cat. Mine are not that tall. They're maybe 9, 8.5, 9. And so that will give them 18-inch clearance, would give them plenty of space. Plus, I have the platforms, right? So how thick are these going to be? They're probably going to be 1 inch. So now we're taking off 1 inch, 17 inches, say 9 inches for the cat. That gives them a 6 inches over their head room to move around. And all I can say is think about it like this. If the average person is 6 feet tall, we're not. The average person's like 5'8" or 5'7". But say 5.5 to 6 feet tall, and we're in an 8-foot room, we have that clearance over our heads. So that's how I'm kind of thinking about this in terms of giving them some clearance over their heads so that they can feel free to pass. And if in other places where we're going to provide napping or hiding, we'll close that off from the sides. Okay, so this gives me now what starts to give me that layout in my head visually. I'm now seeing this in my room, and I can now begin to understand where my spaces are going to be laid out. Now, this is one bubble diagram. You should do more than one. For sake of brevity for these videos, I'm doing one. This is, to me, I'm just going to go with this one because we have a shortage of time, but also I know this is what how I want to lay this out, because I did consider some things off camera. You should do 3 that you plan to bring to the client. You do 3 potential scenarios, three potential layouts, 3 potential themes. And the reason is you want to present your best idea first, but if they reject it, and sometimes they do, they're like, well, this isn't really what I was thinking. You can slide the next one out and say, well, what about this? And foster a dialogue. And if that doesn't work, you've got that third backup. Or you can present all 3 at one time, let them look at the 3, pick the one they like the best, and then use that as a basis for your conversation on how to improve it. The more frequently you involve your client in the process, the more frequently you show them things, the better it is in terms of making adjustments before you put more effort into the next phase. Because I've seen people just come up with something, run with it, present it to a client, and client's like, what else you got? They put all their effort into something that, they spent their whole budget. Because as we talk about, this is a business. You've got limited amount of time, limited amount of money. So if you're showing them the idea of how you're thinking about laying this out early on and getting their feedback on that, then you can make those adjustments before you take it to the next level. And then you've had to scrap all the additional work you did. So I would say this is a point at which to start having a conversation with a client about how you see these spaces being laid out. You discuss the program with them. This is pretty much our with the exception of a massing diagram that we don't have, 3-dimensional massing diagram. This is pretty much our conceptual phase. This is when we want to go to the client, show them what we're talking about, talk to them about it, have a conversation, and start making adjustments. This is before we start putting in much more effort that's going to take more and more effort to change. The longer you work on a project, the more effort it takes to fix or change things that need to be fixed or changed. Another thing to keep in mind is you also want to make sure in your contract with your client that you have limited the number of revisions they're allowed to make. Because I once watched somebody I worked with on another team, it wasn't my team, the client called them every 5 minutes with a change. And it was things like move the light switch to the left by a foot. And then call them 5 minutes later and say, no, move the light switch back. Now, no, move the light switch 2 feet to the right. And they just went on and on with this client until they ate through their budget, and they never said no or stop or, hey, please think about it. Get back to me by, this is when I need it by, but I need a definitive answer. Because, you can be very respectful about, I'm more than happy to do this. I just want to make sure I'm not blowing through your budget, making multiple changes. Take your time, figure out what you need, but get back to me by this time so that I can have it. You have to manage clients that way. They think about their projects a lot. And sometimes they will take advantage of the fact that you're working on their project from a sense that they will contact you constantly. Not all clients are like that, but you will have some that just want to be they're so excited, they want to get involved, but they keep interrupting you, and then they keep wanting to make changes to things. So you have to set the boundaries up front when you're establishing your contract with them, that they're entitled to so many revisions. And that you will meet with them at the end of each phase or when you need more information, and they will sign off on it. Okay? So we're kind of here now where we're able to have information that we can present to the client. I would clean this up. This is just my sketches, so I know what to do. You all are strictly working by hand for this course. You are not doing anything on the computer yet. So you can still just do everything by hand. You can use color if you want. I had a pencil so I could erase and move things around. But, this is not yet at this point. This is, I would throw some color on there for your programming. But other than that, this is close to what you can do or turn in for this, the earlier assignments. Later on, you want to start refining it and making it neat. And you would just do these sketches. This is my recommendation. Do these sketches, but then redraw them and make them clean. Work with a ruler, work on grid paper, whatever you want to do. But this is the gist of it, and this is the idea. Okay, I'm going to stop here.